Have you ever been in a situation where things just didn't turn out like you planned, where your expectations weren't met? Well, one of my favorite sayings here at North Coast is that unsaid expectations go unmet. Hey Daily Dosers, my name is Brette and I am here at the Carlsbad campus to bring you your daily dose. And today we are talking about expectations. And to tell you a little story about expectations for me, I'm going to take you back 20 years ago to when my husband and I were first married and we were living in our small one-bedroom apartment in Nashville. And, in those first few months of marriage, you find out that you have a lot of expectations that you didn't know you had about yourself and about the other person. Well, my expectation was that my husband should lock the door to our apartment every night because when I was growing up, my dad locked the door to our house. He protected us. He wanted to make sure we were safe. Well, my husband didn't do that. And night after night, we would go to bed at the same time and I'd be waiting for him to lock the front door. And night after night, I would have to get up and get out of bed and go lock it myself. So I just couldn't take it after a while. The frustration kept building up and up. And as I lovingly and frustratingly turned the lock, that last time I went to him and I said, "Why don't you ever lock the front door to our apartment? Like, what is the deal?" And my loving husband, he's so awesome, I love him so much. He turns to me and he says, "Babe, we didn't lock the front door in the house that I grew up in. That's just not something that we did." And I felt so stupid because I had been to his house multiple times and he grew up in small town USA. Like, they just don't lock their doors. They leave their keys in their car. Like, that's just not how they work. So that was definitely a situation where my expectations, which were, by the way, unsaid, went unmet. Now today we are in Philippians chapter 4, verses 11 and 12, 12 and 13. And Paul is writing to the church in Philippi from a Roman house prison, like house arrest basically. And the verse says this: "I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength." Now, today's Daily Dose is about our expectations, but the heart of what I want to go over is what are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to react when our expectations go unmet? Now, there's a lot of more serious situations than locking the front door. Maybe the marriage that we thought was until death do us part becomes broken and messy because of infidelity or addiction or fill in the blank. Or maybe you're single and you thought you'd be married already. Or maybe your friend or relative is no longer with us. Maybe a child has left the faith. Maybe you've lost a child again. Maybe your family looks different today than you expected because of mental health issues or poverty, or maybe people have moved away and you really miss them. Maybe it's an expectation of being healthy forever and you got a cancer diagnosis or a terminal illness diagnosis. Maybe it's a political divide. Maybe you lost your job, or maybe you got your dream job and it turned out to be a total disaster. I've been there. Now, I'm not saying that we can't be sad or mad and that we should just plaster a smile on our face, because we shouldn't do that. God has given us emotions and we definitely want to feel those in a responsible way. But what I'm saying is that in any situation, any expectations that go unmet, you are not alone. And if Christ is in your heart and you've surrendered to him, he is your strength. Paul says that we can do all things through Christ Jesus who gives us strength. So dosers, as we think about expectations today, I want us to remember two things. One, unsaid expectations go unmet. And two, you can endure any situation because it is Christ Jesus who gives you strength to get through it. We'll see you next time.